Following Christian Wood being ruled out for about 2 months at the bare minimum, that really left the Lakers' center rotation wide open. Now, it definitely appeared to be on lock for a guy like Jaxson Hayes, but that was before they signed Christian Koloko. And although we're talking about a two-way contract player here, and one that is yet to be medically cleared to return to on-court basketball activity, he definitely has a lot more to offer than your typical two-way contract player. And let's say that he does get medically cleared and is fully healthy and ready to play at training camp, I think there could be a battle between him and Jaxson Hayes. I mean, like we talked about and looked at during my last video, Christian Koloko does appear to be in game-ready shape despite not receiving that medical clearance quite yet. And let's say that he does get it, could he truly push Jaxson Hayes for that second center spot? And what would it take for him to do so? We'll break it all down. Before we get too far into it though, don't forget to check out g2a.com for the best deals in your favorite games, credits, and everything digital entertainment. You can check them out in the video description down below. But now getting back to our topic, and to begin, I think it's fair to assume that Hayes will get the first opportunity. After all, he spent the entirety of last season with their team and now will be entering year number 2 with their team. And he had a pretty good and efficient year with them last season. You know, not a whole lot from a numbers standpoint, only 4.3 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, but a team high 72% for the field and only 12.5 minutes per game. And he definitely did flip a switch after February hit. From February to April, he clearly became their backup center to Anthony Davis, and even before Christian Wood got hurt as well. After that point, he upped his per game averages to about 5.8 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, led their team in offensive rebounds for 36 minutes, grabbing about 3.7 of them per 36 minutes, and then led their team in field goal percentage again, with about 74.5%. Pretty darn impressive. He definitely earned his spot back on their team this season in my opinion, and there's really no way you can argue against it. He definitely took a lead from a rebounding standpoint, probably a defensive one, and an overall efficiency standpoint too. Though he does still have a lot to learn. Only being 24 years old yet, and despite entering his 5th NBA season compared to Koloko only entering his 2nd, he does have a lot to learn and grow within his overall game. He is very limited offensively, and especially after he gave up 3-point shooting, which is kind of weird to me given that he did show some potential, but again he did kind of give up on it, or at least for now anyways. Now if he could get back to it, that would definitely add an entirely different layer to his offensive game, but I'm not sure that will be happening, and I'm not sure we can truly expect him to do it. And again, fairly good defensively, but not anything that truly sets him apart from Christian Koloko, and Koloko might even have the edge on him in a few different areas. And with that being said here, what will it come down to here between them? Koloko obviously again has to be medically cleared yet, but the next step for him will be getting comfortable on an NBA court. He did take an entire year off due to a health issue, being a blood clot, but he only appeared in 58 total NBA games before that point, and that's really not that much. And from that standpoint, I think that Hayes will be given the early edge. Even if we're only talking about getting second team reps with the team, before or after Koloko is medically cleared, I think they will give that first opportunity to Hayes. Whether it's from team continuity or overall comfortability, I think he will be given that, but I do have to admit that Koloko has skills that might set him apart from Hayes in a few different areas. And beginning with defense, I think this is probably have to be the biggest one. Koloko, in my opinion, definitely has the edge on rim protection and overall shot contesting ability. During his rookie year, he averaged about 3 blocks per 36 minutes, and that was actually top 10 in the entire league among qualifying centers per 36 minutes. Pretty impressive for a rookie. And compared to Hayes, who averaged about 1.2 of them per 36 minutes to their team last season, that's quite the upgrade. You know, shot blocking ability doesn't tell the full story on defense, but it is a pretty big part of it, and especially when you can combine it with other factors, which I do think Koloko has some of them to offer. Though then in regard to advanced stats or advanced numbers, which I like even though some people don't, they have been and are fairly similar. Hayes for their team last season had a plus 0.9 defensive box plus minus rating, while Koloko had one at plus 0.8 during his rookie year. Both pretty good, not anything incredible, but nothing that sets one apart from the other. And then for defensive win shares, Hayes had one at plus 1.1, while Koloko had one at plus 1. Again, not anything that sets one apart from the other. And then for defensive Raptor rating, it wasn't available as a metric last season, though it was one of my favorite ratings for the 2022-23 NBA season, and Koloko did beat him out here, having a plus 2.1 rating, which led the entire Toronto Raptors team, and then with Hayes having a plus 0.7 rating. Not comparing last season again, but I think it does show that Koloko had a little bit more to offer, but then again, that stat did factor in blocked shots more than the other two metrics did, which again, Koloko did have Hayes beat out in. But then finally for switchability on defense, definitely something you can't really factor in from a stat category, but more from an eye test standpoint, and in my opinion, they're both very switchable for 7-footers. I think Hayes is probably a little bit more mobile compared to Koloko, but Koloko definitely does move fairly well for a 7-footer as well. And then combined with his overall shot blocking and shot contesting ability, I think Koloko probably does win the overall battle on defense, though I think he does have more to prove. He only played again in 58 total games up until this point, and that's compared to Hayes, who has played in well over 300. So I definitely need to see a little bit more from Koloko, and definitely with their team in particular before giving him the clear edge on defense. But purely from a potential standpoint and numbers standpoint, I would give him the early edge. Moving on though, how about offense? And here they're both fairly limited. They're great lob threats and borderline elite ones due to their height, length, and athletic ability combination, but that's pretty much all they have to offer. A little bit more in regard to running the floor, which they do fairly well for 7-footers, but again that primarily comes down to their height, length, and athletic ability, not really their overall offensive skill set. And in regard to 3-point shooting, they are unfortunately not 3-point shooters. Koloko only made 1 of 12 from 3 during his rookie year, and although I'd like that he was not afraid to take them, and maybe he will eventually become an effective 3-point shooter, he's definitely not right now. And then for Hayes, while he did make 26 of them from 2020 to 2022, and not to mention on here 37% 3-point shooting, he's kind of lost the ability to make them. He went 0 for 8 from the 3-point line for their team last season. I don't know if it's a confidence thing with him or what exactly happened, but it's no longer an effective part of his game. Maybe he'll find that again in the future, hopefully like Koloko does, but definitely not right now. But then moving closer toward the rim, while they're not really good low post scoring threats, maybe they'll become that one day, maybe not very likely, but Hayes has been and is much more efficient at the rim right now. Koloko has only been a 48% career field goal shooter, and that's compared to Hayes, who has been a near 64% career field goal shooter. And although again not much to evaluate here from an offensive standpoint, Hayes would be the much more efficient and safer option on offense. Whether it be as a lob threat or a guy to dump off to around the rim, he'll definitely finish at the rim at a higher rate compared to Koloko. Moving on though again, how about rebounding? And here's much more of a competition compared to offense. And although it's something that neither of them do great up until this point, they have been showing improvement and definitely have shown good moments. And even though it was kind of a weakness for Hayes at one point, it definitely no longer is. And he actually became very effective as a rebounder toward the end of last season. Again, after February, he grabbed about 10 of them per 36 minutes, including a team-high 3.7 offensive rebounds. Pretty darn good. And then for Koloko, while he only grabbed about 8 of them per 36 minutes during his rookie year, it might have been an outlier. Like we talked about during my last video, he played with 2 very good rebounding wings during his rookie year, being Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam, who combined to grab 10.3 defensive rebounds per game. No, not total rebounds per game, simply defensive rebounds per game, which was definitely a big reason for Koloko not grabbing more defensive rebounds per game. And overall, this might actually be where the battle could be decided between Koloko and Hayes, with that being rebounding. With Hayes being more efficient offensively, while Koloko is kind of more of an impact player defensively, it might come down to rebounding and overall hard work between them, fighting for more loose balls, who is willing to show more effort, and again, overall hard work. I think it might be the ultimate deciding factor between them, which I know might sound like a cop-out, but it really might be what it comes down to. With one of them having the edge offensively, and the other one having the edge defensively, it might come down to rebounding and hard work. But overall, it definitely will be a fun battle to watch, and hopefully we will get it with Koloko being medically cleared. But I probably would give the early edge to Jaxson Hayes. With everything factored in between health, comfortability, and overall team continuity, I think he does deserve the early edge. And I think it would be a lot for Koloko to overcome in a very short time period with their team. With that being said though, again it will be a fun battle to watch throughout training camp, and hopefully we will get it. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you think will win the ultimate battle between them, both in the short term and long term? And what do you think will be the biggest factors in it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. With that being said though, I think that'll pretty much do it. And if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and turn on notifications so you never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.